A Teenage Nightmares original. Dean was your average nerdy teen in the 80s. He had two loyal friends that he did everything with. Unfortunately, everything included being bullied by Gary Henderson. They had all met in second grade. Dean, Sean and Melvin hit it off right away. They'd spend every day together. Eventually days would turn to years. 10 years to be exact. The boys were now seniors on the verge of graduating and attending the same college. Yes, they were extremely excited, but things would take a turn for the worst. It was the night before graduation, and the boys were plotting to get revenge on Gary. Dean's big plan was to pop the tires on Gary's brand new sports car he got for graduation, and to pop the rest of his friends' car tires. "Tonight is the perfect night," Dean said to his friends. "Gary is throwing that stupid graduation party with his crappy friends. And we're leaving for our road trip in the morning." "It's the perfect crime," Sean said with excitement. "I don't know, guys. Maybe we should just take our trip and forget about it," said Melvin, as he was usually the more cautious of the friend group. Dean was quick to shut down Melvin's idea, though, by reminding him of all the torment they've gone through because of Gary and his friends. Melvin reluctantly agrees, and the friends make their way towards Gary's house. After a brief 10-minute drive, the three arrive in front of Gary's long dark driveway. Dean quickly hops out as he spots Gary's prized 1989 Red 5.0. He aggressively slashed all four tires as he let out what could only be described as crazed laughter. Melvin and Sean quickly joined, going along the line of cars in Gary's driveway. Eventually, one of Gary's friends came stumbling outside, clearly drunk. He spotted Melvin attempting to slash his tires. "Hey punk," he shouted, "back the hell away from my car, you spaz." He quickly lunged toward Melvin. Melvin jumped up and began to brace for impact, but he whispered "not today" under his breath, and quickly threw a jab, landing on Colin's face. Colin was Gary's friend. Colin fell and landed by Sean's station wagon's back tire. Melvin jumped into the station wagon, yelling for Dean and Sean to join him. They quickly obliged. Sean nervously threw the wagon in reverse and stepped on the gas, but stopped abruptly as they heard what sounded like a melon being crushed. "What the hell was that?" Dean asked, voice trembling. "Oh my God!" Melvin cried out frantically. "That was Colin's head," he said before throwing up all over the back seat of the wagon. "No, it wasn't," Dean said as he shook his head in disbelief. "I'll go check." Dean nervously reached for the door handle, slowly opening the door. He turned his head ever so slightly, as he feared what Melvin was saying could be true. And to his shock, his biggest fear was indeed true. There lay Colin's head, split open like a melon, detached from his body. For lives were changed in an instant. Melvin directs his eyes toward the night sky with a blank expression. Before blurting the words, "I killed him. I took a life." Sean whimpered as he felt for his friend. "It's my fault, Melvin. I ran him over, man. I killed Colin. You didn't even want to be here." Dean stopped both of them in their tracks, telling them it was his plan. He said with a stern face, "So if anyone is to blame, it's me." All three agreed that they were all to blame. After a few minutes of silence, Melvin asked, "What do we do now?" Dean looked both Sean and Melvin in the eyes and told them, "We drive. We get as far away as we could from here. It's either that or life in prison." Melvin and Sean agree and join Dean in the wagon to drive off into the night. After a few hours of driving on a dark and deserted highway, the boys are startled by a banging sound coming from the rear side of the car. "What the hell is that?" Sean said with a look of fear. "It's him, isn't it?" Melvin asked. "He's come to get his revenge." "He's come to kill us." "No, it can't be," Dean said with a tone of confusion. "You two are acting crazy. He's dead. We watched him die. He can't be after us." Before Dean could let out another word, the car cuts out, leaving them stuck in the dark. Sean desperately tried to start the car up, to no avail. It suddenly went completely quiet, so quiet you could hear yourself breathe. Then out of nowhere the back window shattered, slicing Melvin's neck wide open. Sean screamed in terror. "He's going to kill us," he shouted at Dean. "Start the damn car, Sean," Dean said. Sean shook his head and tried to start the car. To his surprise, the car started, almost as if Melvin's death was a contribute. But after only making it 10 minutes down the road, the car began to break down. Dean slowly turned toward Sean. Sean could see the fear in Dean's eyes. He asked him what was wrong. But Dean couldn't speak. He was too afraid of what he was seeing. because what he was seeing was Colin's head floating outside Sean's window. And before Sean could ask again, his door was yanked open. Then suddenly something grabbed his head with such force that it was torn off clean. Dean sat there, shirt filled with tears. He begged the spirit of Colin to take him too. Finally the spirit spoke. "No, Dean, my punishment for you is that you'll live knowing you cost not only me, but also their futures for nothing." The spirit vanished, never to be seen again. Dean was eventually found wandering in the woods weeks later. He was eventually found guilty for all four murders, and currently resides at a mental health clinic for the criminally insane.